In a world consumed by culinary debates, question has ignited fierce arguments, shattered friendships, and torn families apart. It's a question at the heart of our understanding of gastronomic tradition. Today, we delve deep into the controversial abyss to answer the age-old question: is a hot dog a sandwich? Is cereal a soup? Or is rice a salad? For many years, people have investigated and created theories surrounding proper food taxonomic classification. The first attempt at creating an all-encompassing food taxonomic approach that put the profession in the public eye was created by the false prophet Foodie. This theory is called the cube rule of food. This theory states that all foods can be categorized based on the location of the starch surrounding an imaginary cube. It classifies pizza as a form of toast because the starch is at the bottom. It says 3 pieces of toast stacked upon one another is a form of sandwich. A hot dog is a taco. Enchiladas are sushi. Cheesecake is a quiche. Lasagna is a cake. And an uncrustable is a calzone. They have more categories, such as nachos, which is just an assortment of starches, which would include, of course, nachos, but also a bowl of noodles. And to them, a salad is any food that does not contain a starch. Well, I commend the immense amount of effort that has been put into this theory and how it has helped spread our profession and put it into the public eye. It's a terrible theory, and it's a shame people call Foodie a prophet. When doing food taxonomy, it's important to follow the established rules of the profession. The 3 main rules of this profession are the following. The first rule is that there must not be any arbitrary limitations, and also the definition has to be concise. The second rule states that you must differentiate between vastly different foods, all while including all colloquially termed foods within that category. For example, you can't say nigiri sushi isn't a type of sushi, which is what cube rule of food does. And finally, the third rule is that the act of consuming the food must not change the category that it falls within. And the cube rule of food fails on all 3 rules. First off, there's no logical reason why the starch locations surrounding an imaginary cube should make any difference at all in what category it falls within. It adds complexity for no reason and makes it hard to differentiate between the different categories. The cube rule of food also doesn't differentiate between vastly different foods. It states that steaks and soy lattes are both salads, but yet it excludes salads with croutons from the salad category, and instead says a salad with croutons is a form of nacho. But the worst offense of them all is that whenever you bite into a Pop-Tart, which according to them is a calzone, it transforms from a calzone to a quiche because one end is open. But if you bite into the other end of that Pop-Tart, which is now considered a quiche, it magically transforms into a sushi. That's why the cube rule of food is a terrible theory for food classification. Since the followers of the cube rule of food have no idea what a salad is, let's start there in our journey to classify all foods as either a soup, salad, or a sandwich. Imagine a salad. The word evokes an image of a vibrant and refreshing medley of greens and other ingredients that tantalize the senses with their texture, flavor, and crunch. However, defining what constitutes a salad has proven to be a complex and nuanced task. We've explored many popular salad definitions, however, they all fall short. The only salad definition that follows all rules of food taxonomic classification is the definition put forward by salad theory experts. So following the rules of food taxonomy, here are the definitions of a salad that didn't make the cut. The traditional definition of a salad. A salad must be a mixture of greens. While this definition is very concise, it does exclude many colloquially termed salads, such as a pasta salad. The well-mixed definition. A salad must be a mixture of foods such that a typical person would not notice a difference if the ingredients' relative position and orientation were randomized. While this definition captures the essence of what it is to be a salad, it could exclude untossed salads, such as an untossed Caesar salad. Explicit inclusions. A list of things that are commonly referred to as a salad. While this approach does include every commonly termed salad, it is far, far, far from being concise. Reason being, this definition is just a long list of things. But what if you encounter a new type of salad? What if you create a new kind of salad? It wouldn't be accounted for in this definition. Explicit exclusions. A salad may not contain bread, is not primarily made of meat, is not a soup, etc., etc. This definition is far from concise and has many arbitrary limitations. For example, why can't there be bread in a salad? Anyways, that exclude any kind of salad that has croutons in it. This definition also includes things that are very different from a salad, such as a piece of ice could fall within this definition of being a salad. Unfortunately, it never exactly states what a salad is, just what it is not. Here's where we come to the correct definition of what a salad is. That is concise, doesn't have arbitrary limitations, and includes all known salads that you can think of. This definition is, a salad is a dish that contains at least two solid pieces of food suspended within a gaseous matrix. Why does this definition include that it has to be within a gaseous matrix? We'll get to that in a second. But here are some unconventional salads that fit this definition. There's mixed nuts, M&Ms, popcorn, spaghetti, French fries, plate of chicken wings, and even a bowl of rice fit perfectly within this category. So, what happens if you just have a single piece of lettuce? Is it a salad? It's not quite a salad because it's only one piece of food. But if you add another piece of food, it becomes a salad. So, what is it? This is believed by many to not quite be fully a salad, but more of a proto-salad or a low-dimensional salad or even a saladoid, because it has everything required to be a salad, except it just needs one more piece of food added to it. Some may see this as a fourth category, but we're only categorizing meals or dishes, and a saladoid isn't a full meal. Individual pieces of food can instead be seen as ingredients within a dish or a meal. This is similar to how a water molecule is made of atoms, but each atom isn't a molecule in it of itself. So a saladoid or a proto-salad can be seen more of as an ingredient within a full dish or potential dish. So, we all enjoy salad with ranch dressing, but what happens when you add so much ranch to your salad that it's more ranch than salad? At this point, the individual pieces of food are not within a gaseous matrix, but instead are within a liquid one. This makes the salad no longer a salad, but instead more like a soup. This is the reason why it was required for a salad to be within a gaseous matrix, so we could differentiate it between soups. Defining the exact moment, though, that a salad becomes a soup, based on the amount of ranch dressing you add, is impossible to tell. That's why the salad theory experts have proposed something called the soupiness coefficient. At the far end of the soupiness coefficient is pure liquid with zero solid food suspended within it. However, the less soupy it gets, the more solid it gets, and such, the more salady it gets. However, this pure liquid is still a form of soup. So our definition for a soup is a consumable, liquid-like matrix that may contain pieces of solid food. In a paper titled "What's for Lunch? A Systematic Ordering of Foods Within the Soup Salad Sandwich Phase Space," published by Harvard graduates Madeline Leembruggen and Caroline Martin, they made an incredible discovery. These two scholars discovered that just like a phase space diagram with water, how the variables of pressure and temperature change what category the water is, whether it's a solid, liquid, or a gas, they discovered you could do the same thing with the matrix that the food is or is suspended within. As seen here, this illuminates a previously unknown category of soup called the glassy soup. Although solid, these glassy soups act very similar to their liquid counterparts and can easily transition into a liquid soup state by adding temperature, just like how you can do that with an ice cube by warming it up and turning it into liquid water. Even though they're not the same phase exactly as liquid soup, they still fall within the soup category because they share an overwhelming amount of properties with the liquid soups. Some examples of these glassy soups include, of course, ice, but also ice cream, cheese, and chocolate. As we've already discovered, salads are often served with what's known as a dressing, a liquid designed to add flavor to your salad. But we know that a dressing is just a form of soup because it's an edible liquid matrix. This is why there's no difference between adding ketchup, a tomato-based liquid, to your fries, which is a salad, and adding pasta sauce, a tomato-based liquid, to your pasta, which is a salad. So the function of adding these liquids to our salads is to enhance the flavor of the meal through that liquid matrix, and that liquid matrix separated from the rest of the meal is very easily classified as a soup, making condiments, sauces, and dressings all forms of soup. The line between beverages and soups also becomes blurred upon further investigation. Merriam-Webster's definition for a soup is different than ours because of its arbitrary ingredient requirement. They say a soup is a liquid food, especially with a meat, fish, or vegetable stock as a base, often containing pieces of solid food. Their definition sounds great and all, but it excludes tomato soup, which is a fruit-based soup, because it does not contain any meat, fish, or vegetables. So, ignoring the arbitrary ingredient requirement, what's the difference between a smoothie, a fruit-based liquid, and tomato soup, a fruit-based liquid? When considering all possibilities and differences between the two, the only difference is flavor, which is not a requirement for being considered a soup or not, making smoothies a form of soup, which are oftenly considered a form of beverage. Since we've already covered that soups can be made entirely out of liquid, there's no reason why beverages should be excluded based on them being primarily liquid. But also, there are many soups and other foods that have their main ingredient being a beverage. Beer is used in beer batter, milk is used in many kinds of sauces, which are soups, and water is the fundamental base for almost every kind of soup out there. There's also some beverages that are seen as very different from soups included within certain kinds of soups, such as Coca-Cola barbecue sauce. So it's clear that attempting to draw a difference between beverages and soups is a fruitless endeavor, and that the main difference between a beverage and soup and the classification between them is merely a social convention based on whether they are consumed when you are hungry or thirsty. So now that we understand the full depths of what exactly is a soup and what exactly is a salad, let's explore some soupy salads or salady soups. A bowl of cereal without milk falls firmly within the salad category, but once you add a reasonable amount of milk to it, which most people do, it becomes a kind of soup. A combination of chopped up tomatoes and leafy greens is a salad. Very clearly a salad. But if you chop up the tomatoes and leafy greens a bit more, it becomes a salsa, which is kind of a more soupy salad. Finally, if you blend up these ingredients, you get gazpacho, which sits firmly within the soup category. This means the exact same ingredients, just depending on how they're prepared, change which category it falls within to, because the fundamental structure of the food itself is radically different. Now, I want you to imagine a jelly-filled donut. What category does it fall within? On the outside, it looks like a single piece of solid food, or a proto-salad. But on the inside, there's a liquid matrix. That liquid matrix is jelly. That jelly is a soup. So now what is this food? Clearly it's not a salad, because there's not two solid, separate pieces of food within a gaseous matrix. But it's not a soup either, because the soup is entirely within the single piece of food. This is where there needs to be a third category, perpendicular to soups and salads. This category is the sandwich category. The definition for what defines what falls within this new sandwich category is this: an edible containment, partially or fully enclosing a filling. The reason why it can enclose partially or fully a filling is because everything within the soup salad sandwich phase space falls within a spectrum. At the far end of this sandwich spectrum, you have things fully enclosing the filling, such as a calzone. At the complete opposite end of the spectrum, with zero edible containment surrounding filling, you have either a soup or a salad. And in between is where we find the diverse array of foods that are sandwiches. Going from least to most edible enclosure, let's start with a taco salad. Very easily and clearly a salad. Now, put that taco salad on a tortilla, but don't fold it or anything. Now, you have a tostada. Now, partially enclose this tostada by folding the tortilla into a more U shape, or a taco. This taco encloses the filling much more than the tostada, so it is more sandwichy. Now, if you fully enclose the filling with the tortilla, you get a burrito, which is as far on the sandwich spectrum as this meal can be. Reason being, the filling is fully enclosed by the tortilla. A similar effect can be seen with different types of sushi. Even though sushi is enclosed by rice, which is usually a type of salad, the rice acts as the edible containment for the food. Starting off with a poke bowl, it's very clearly a salad. You can go to nigiri sushi, where the rice is at the bottom, holding ingredients or filling on the top. And then there's traditional sushi, which circularly contains the filling, but not on the ends. And finally, fully enclosing the filling with rice, you get onigiri. As we just covered, of course, tostadas and nigiri are more salady sandwiches than their fully enclosed counterparts. But there's also a food that is a sandwichy salad. This is nachos. Why would nachos be a type of salad? Well, of course, you have many individual nachos, and then you have cheese and olives and salsa. But each nacho, if it scoops and holds filling, acts as a sandwich. A plate of nachos can be seen as a salad of sandwiches. Still a salad, but it's made of sandwiches. There are also sandwichy soups, the most obvious example being soup dumplings. Since the dumplings fully enclose their interior filling, they are as sandwich as you can get, really. However, when these dumplings are placed within a liquid matrix that is a soup, you get soup dumplings, which is a sandwichy form of soup. The meal is still primarily a soup because the sandwiches within it are suspended within the liquid matrix. The previously considered jelly donut is a kind of soupy sandwich, but still very sandwichy. Some more notable examples would be grilled cheese with the cheese acting as a glassy soup, or an ice cream sandwich with the ice cream being a form of glassy soup, enclosed partially, not on the sides, but on the top and bottom, by the cookie. But the most soupy sandwich that I can think of is a bread bowl filled with soup. There is also a triple point, where all three of these foods combine into one, but we'll get to that in a second. All of these foods can be pretty easily categorized with decent accuracy by the layman with a simple principle. If it's eaten with a fork, it's most likely a salad. If it's eaten with a spoon, it's probably a soup. And if it's eaten with your hands, it's probably a sandwich. Of course, this isn't accurate 100% of the time. That's why we have the Council of Food Taxonomic Experts. But it is great for the average person trying to classify a new food they encounter. Further categorization can also be done, such as based on predominant macronutrient, like fat, protein, or carb. It can also be categorized by predominant taste. It can be sweet, it could be salty, it could be bitter, sour, or savory. However, beware, this is still a very obscure realm of soup salad sandwich taxonomy and is still being investigated by our scientists. Now here is the moment you've been waiting for, where all the powers of the three categories combine into one. This power arises at the triple point. Now what is this mysterious magic food that harnesses the powers from all categories? This meal is the ice cream sundae in a waffle cone. The ice cream is a glassy soup that gives the meal its liquid-like capabilities, where it can easily melt and change shape. The delicious cherry, sprinkles, and chocolate on top give the ice cream sundae its diverse array of flavors through its salad properties. And finally, the waffle bowl that holds the ice cream sundae, making it completely edible and portable and fully delicious, giving the meal its sandwich powers. And yes, rice is a salad, cereal is a soup, and a hot dog is a sandwich.